Hey, this is Buzz with Pickleball Buzz. Welcome back for part two of my conversation with Dominic Catalano. He is going to talk about the Pickleball Club going up in the Sarasota market in Lakewood Ranch, and then also how the whole facility is coming through, and also how they're bringing pickleball for the first time to high schoolers as well as to our first responders, which is very cool. And so, without further ado, here is my continuing conversation with the one and only Dominic Catalano. Yeah. Well, one of the features that I was reading about the Pickleball Club, the one that you're building in Sarasota area,
Mhm,
Lakewood Ranch area, has indoor courts. And I know a lot of people
mhm.
who know the summer's coming and it gets kind of hot. And that's traditionally where we all played, was outdoors. This is going to offer the best of both worlds. You can either go outside on the covered courts outdoors if you that's the thing you want to do, or
Yep.
you can be comfortable inside as well. And that's going to be emblematic of the other courts that you build as well, or the other
Yeah,
clubs, right?
pretty much every one of our clubs is copy and paste.
Got it.
There may be little adjustments here and there, but for the most part, our clubs will be 12 indoor courts and 2 outdoor courts. But with that being said, people have to understand, because misnomer with pickleball again too is that they hear indoor court and they think indoor meaning on a gym floor, and that's the last thing that we would be doing. All of our courts are Acrotech courts, so it's that cushion. It's a cushion surface that you'd see at the U.S. Open or any major facility that's doing this. So it's a cushion surface, which is again good for your joints. But they're dedicated pickleball courts that we have fenced in the 360 degrees. Each court is individually fenced in, so you don't have balls rolling from court to court. That's a huge thing for pickleball players too, is because you're seeing some of these places that are going up, and they're great, and they're offering this, new experience. But with what we're doing, we're changing that and saying, okay, well, your courts are going to be fully fenced in. You're going to be completely enclosed. You don't have to worry about that. You've seen some other places that have courts lined up 6 or 7 in a row with no dividers in between. That's a problem for some players because you got balls rolling back and forth.
Sure.
But yes, everything that we're doing is top of the line, and no expense has been kind of cut out of this because we want that pickleball experience for people to
Right.
be the best. And that was a reason that we have formed the team that we have, because we have so much knowledge in the game of pickleball that we're doing it the right way.
Well, I was just going to mention that for those of you that are listening to this and are very interested in are in the Florida market over on the West Coast and down into Southwest Florida, if you're interested in being a member there, know this is that the membership is going to be really valuable for all the reasons we've talked about, but also you guys are going to provide instructions. So if somebody's brand new to the game and go, like, I'd like to join, but I don't know anything about hitting the ball, or I've only hit a few times, you're going to have a pretty cool curriculum of your own over there to
Mm-hmm.
kind of instruct people. Talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. And we'll have at each one of our facilities, we'll have a director of pickleball, which will oversee all of pickleball. They will have a teaching pro that works with them too. So we'll have numerous pros in each facility that will be running all of our programming, whether it's leagues, ladders, round robins, clinics, private lessons, semi private lessons. We'll be doing cardio pickleball. All those kinds of things will be offered at each one of our facilities. And we'll also have instructors that'll be doing beginner clinics, intermediate clinics, advanced clinics. We'll have tournament prep teams, which are designated for players who do play tournaments and want to get that prep in. So we'll have multiple, kind of options within the club. And that's a good thing too. So whatever area we're in, whether we're in Lakewood Ranch area, whether we're at our Port St. Lucie facility, whether we're at the Bonita Springs facility, those kind of offerings are also available to the public. What's available to specific members is they get priority registration for any of those. They get priority on tournaments. They get priorities with courts. Open play that we have will be designated for members only, but all of our instruction, our clinics, our lessons, our leagues, those will be open to the public. So there is still an aspect of some things that'll be open to the public, but for the most part, the clubs are a membership club.
Yep. Well, it's nice that if somebody comes into the area and wants to come to your facility because they're vacationing in the market, the doors aren't closed; they're open.
Right.
And
They have options of what
yeah,
they could do with
right,
clinics or lessons or anything
right,
like that. Absolutely.
that's great. Um, let's talk a little bit about timing. I know that you've got a number of facilities coming out of the ground. What's the sequence of who's open and when and all that, just for people to hear,
So
to the best of your
we're
knowledge?
we're super excited, and again, with everything that's been going on in the country for the past 2 years, everyone who is anyone that understands knows that supply chain has been the biggest issue for anyone doing anything. So we've dealt with that, and then the biggest difference too with our facility is that we are literally going from the ground up. There's a lot of other facilities that have popped up before us, but what they're doing is they're hollowing out existing buildings and able to do that in a shorter time frame. Our buildings, every single one of them, is build to suit, and so we are completely custom from the ground up. I'm happy to say that we have our first facility. We've laid our slab already for it. Our elevator shaft is going in right now, and our steel is being delivered on site as we speak. So we should be seeing vertical movement within the next couple weeks. And then once that shell goes up, it's going to be game on, because then they're just going to start rattling stuff off. So our first facility, Lakewood Ranch, is looking at around November, December opening. So we're very excited about that. And then everything else with Port St. Lucie, Bonita Springs, and Fort Myers, that's looking into probably a year or more from now.
Right.
So that's all kind of in the process right now. But we're very excited about the first facility in Lakewood Ranch. Was just standing on the slab the other day. I mean, our facility. It's a 34,000 square foot facility.
Wow.
And so, I mean, it's massive, and you're standing in one corner and looking over into the other corner and going, wow, I'm standing on one court. That's
Right.
going to be like the opposite end right now. I'm like, and that's absolutely insane. So it's pretty cool to think of it.
Yeah. Well, as we all know, before we blink, November will be here, and which is just amazing. And people still can go online or become members or get their membership together, so that when the opening happens, they're already locked and loaded, ready to go. You guys are taking memberships now, or you're just taking reservations? Talk a little bit about that, because some people might go, "I'm jacked up, man. I want to
Yeah.
go." What do you say?
Well, that's the crazy part about it, is because we only have a slab right now and like an elevator shaft. Within that, we have over 150 members already.
Oh,
Like we have a slab. We don't have any courts. We don't have anything like that. But the pickleball community is crazy about pickleball, and they're so excited about it that we have over 150 memberships already. And
yeah,
so to sit there and say that makes like us as a pickleball club makes us so proud to understand that they're that jacked up about it. And now we know that we've had people that are in the weeds, like kind of laying there waiting, and
sure.
they were waiting for us to do this, to lay the slab, to start going vertical. And so now, coming up in the next month or so, we feel like we're going to start getting a lot more memberships coming in, because they see that this is actually happening. And I don't blame them, because it's been a while we've been doing this project, but we went through a pandemic. We went through so
Yeah.
much that we did stick to our guns, and we said, hey, we're still doing this. It's just taking us a little longer, but we're doing it the right way. And now, once they start seeing this, I think they're going to be ecstatic about it, and it's just going to start to take off within the next couple of months when they see this all going up.
Well, I can tell you this: it'd make one heck of a nice Christmas gift, since it's going to open around Thanksgiving, Christmas time. If somebody goes, "Hey, guess what I got you?" Wow.
Yeah, and that's it too. And we are, like I said, we are taking memberships right now with people, calling every day, signing up. You can go on our website, the pickleballclub.us, and go on there and kind of see what we're all about. And they can literally go on there and look at all our memberships and what our options are and what they can do.
I'll end on this note: is that many of you who watch this channel and know, you've probably bought memberships to other kinds of health clubs and wellness clubs and all this other stuff. And then you always have that regret that you don't use it. And a month goes by, another month goes by. I'm going to tell you, to a person, if you buy this membership or get a membership to a pickleball club, you will use it like crazy, because I'm telling you, you get bit by this bug and it just goes. And so,
Mhm.
I think it's going to be terrifically successful for you, Dominic. I'm
Yeah,
just
it's
thrilled.
something we're super excited about, and with that, we talk about that, and you and I talked before, Buzz, about the junior essence of pickleball
Right.
and that younger essence of pickleball,
Yep.
and that's kind of another goal of ours too. With that, our three of our big things is our junior program, working with our veterans and first responders too.
Nice.
We really kind of are pushing towards them and whatnot, and we have discounts for them because we want them to become members. Our CEO is a former Rear Admiral in the Navy, so he has a real soft spot for the veterans and the first responders. Me coming from education, I love the juniors and that junior program that we're going to have. And so you're seeing that too in pickleball, is that taking off those younger players, those Anna Lee Waters and Georgia Johnsons and J.W. Johnsons and Dylan Frazier's and Gabe Tardios, and I can go on and on. And then also we talked about, off camera when we were talking about the collegiate level now
Oh
and where
yeah.
that's going. And,
Yep.
I've never met him in person, but Matt Calvert from TCU, Texas Christian University. This guy has been amazing. He runs the TCU pickleball. They call it frog pickleball, the TCU Horned Frogs,
North Frog. Yeah.
and so they call it frog pickleball. They play
Nice.
like every night down there at TCU,
Yep.
and I've talked to this guy through messaging and whatnot. He's sending me up some Horned Frog TCU pickleball sweatshirts and shirts and all this stuff. But that's what this needs,
Sure.
is to get into that club level, on the collegiate level, on that high school level.
Yep.
And that's another goal of ours at the Pickleball Club, is to involve the high schools and the middle schools and the elementary schools and the homeschool kids too,
Sure.
and offer them programs that they can come into the club, use the club, and get those juniors involved. Because as you were watching earlier, I think you got it on still right now. You're watching Anna Lee Waters out there,
Yep.
killing it today.
Sure.
She's 14, 15 years old,
No,
and is the top female in the sport. You got, J.W. Johnson, another one of the top players in the sport. But that's where this sport is going. It's just
sure.
getting younger and younger.
Well, I think one of the impacts to our children during the pandemic is, the social emotional component that we never had that growing up, because we never had a pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And this sport, again, unlike other sports, doesn't necessarily out anyone. And kids are very sensitive about, I can't really play basketball, or I can't throw a baseball to save myself. So they do no sport. This sport, I'm telling parents, if they're listening to Dominic's advice here, is that we want to get these kids involved in it, because this is where the future of the sport's going, and it is invigorating. It's an alternative for them, other than something else. And the benefits of sports and exercise affect the mind of children in their development. I can't say enough about it, and I'm so glad the Pickleball Club has you and others at the helm that are really nose in the wind on this thing, because it's a big deal. Because these kids need this, and the fact that you have this
Mm-hmm.
ability for them and our military service people and our first responders to have this type of opportunity to come play at your clubs is just phenomenal, because we owe it to them. That's the next generation, and these are the people that take and keep America safe. And when you get hurt sometime, that's the first responders are there. And this is a small ask for you guys to do, for anyone to do. So I'm really proud of you guys doing that. I didn't know about that until we just had this conversation.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. I'm in a military town, and we are very ultra sensitive
Mm-hmm.
about taking care of our men and women in service and veterans. So kudos to you guys on that. That's really, really terrific. And just one last word on the youth. Talk a little bit about, you were once a teacher, as you mentioned earlier.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see the youth thing, becoming? Because as you mentioned, Anna Lee Waters is 15 years old out of Delray Beach, Florida. I mean, that's pretty young, you know?
It is. It's very young, and the thing of it is, Buzz, it's getting paddles in their hands. It's as simple as that. And I know it does sound simple, but it is simple. Is because once they start to play, it's over. They love it. And again, my experience how I got taught the game and the game came into my life was when I was a high school PE teacher, and I taught at an all boys Catholic high school up in Chicago. And when we would do pickleball 3 weeks a year, and that was my experience with pickleball for the first 10 years of my life, was 3 weeks a year. But I tell you what, I would have the lines on the court, we'd have the paddles out, everything. It was the only unit that I would have boys come to me and beg me for lunch passes to get out of the cafeteria. They would come in the gym, they would scarf their lunch in like 5 minutes, and then they would play pickleball for another 25. They'd
Wow.
be in khaki pants and a polo. It was their uniform they had to wear.
Right.
And they would be drenched by the time they got done. Okay. And then they go to their next period class, and I'd get an email from the teacher in the next period going, I can't believe you're letting them do blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'll be darned if I'm ever going to tell a 13, 14, 15-year-old kid that they can't be active.
Right.
And then I had to start telling, okay, guys, at least change your shirt,
Sure.
like you can change your shirt and play. It's fine.
Right.
But that's the sport. And all it took was getting a paddle in their hand, and
Yeah.
they loved it. And
Yeah.
now I have former students of mine, I was a high school baseball coach, former players of mine that come down here and visit in Florida, and they come out here and they're like, they can't believe what I'm doing with pickleball.
Yeah.
That I'm on ESPN Plus or CBS Sports, and they laugh at me constantly. They're like, would you ever have thought this, coach, that you're doing this
Yeah.
on this level with pickleball? And
Yeah.
I'm like, I'd have never thought it. I'm like, but you guys love it. And they're like, yeah, we love it. We'll come down here and they play and they get all into it.
Yeah.
But they think it's crazy too. But that's it. It's as simple as get the paddle in their hand, get them on the court playing, and they're going to fall in love with it.
Yeah. Well, we're talking in a complete symphony here on this deal, because it's really true, and I think people can see the passion that both of us have for the sport, and I just think it's so exciting, and I know you feel this way too, that when we recruit young kids, or anybody for that matter, that can get off the couch or get out from the TV or the computer
Mm-hmm.
and come work out in a relatively short period of time and get a great workout, meet other people, and have that camaraderie. This sport is just like buttering your bread on both sides. It's just so good, and I'm excited for all that's coming. November is going to get here in a split second, and so for those of you who are in the area or coming to the area, I welcome you to reach out to the people that are on their website, thepickleballclub.com, right? And
It's pickleballclub.us.
.us, okay,
Yeah.
and check it out. And there's an info, tab where you can, inquire more information. They'll contact you back, and so that's cool. And watch CBS or ESPN Plus or one of the major networks. You'll hear Dominic doing his thing, behind the mic, calling games, and
Yeah, I got that face for radio, but they keep me behind the camera. That's the goal. Keep me behind the camera.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Well, my thanks to Dominic Catalano, again, one of our top pros in the game, for joining us, and a great conversation about himself, the Pickleball Club, and what we're doing with youth and our military and first responders. Best of luck on the place. I'm definitely going to do a remote down there with you when you get this thing.
Absolutely.
Uncorked.
We got set up. We got a 1,200 square foot mezzanine.
Wow.
Set up. It overlooks the whole facility. We can set up there. We'll have the best backdrop in pickleball.
Well, that's a wrap on our conversation with Dominic Catalano. Of course, we thank Dominic for his time and great insights. For more stories just like that one on the people and products and players in this wonderful sport of pickleball, please stay tuned here by hitting subscribe. That's how you get the latest information here at Pickleball Buzz. Again, we thank you and stay tuned for more. We'll be talking with you soon.